There are 12 fighting styles total on Blox Truth, and in this video we're going to be ranking them all in a tier list to find out which style is truly the best. I'm going to be ranking each style based on 4 different categories. First being how cool the fighting style is, second being grinding potential, then combo potential, and last but not least, utility. We're starting off with the basic beginning fighting style in the game, combat. Now this is the only fighting style in the game that only has 2 moves, as you guys can see down here, and this is also the base default one that everybody starts with. So as you can imagine, it is probably not that good. Now in terms of how cool this fighting style is, it's not going to get much points there either. As you guys see, the first move, quick tackle, it's yeah, that's a tackle. Doesn't really do much damage and also has like no mobility. And then next up we have ground smash, which doesn't have much range and also the damage is just kind of mediocre. Speaking of which, let's look at the damage on the M1s. Not very good. Keep in mind I'm also not max level, but even if you were, it would be the lowest one in the game. So yeah, the fighting style is not very cool. I mean, like that, there's nothing exciting about that. And also for combo potential, it's also lacking. Moves like ground smash have like pretty much no stun and no AoE or damage, and quick tackle comes out way too slow to even be able to hit anybody in combat, which means this doesn't have anything good for PvP. So it's not cool, it's bad for PvP, but is it good for grinding? Quick answer for this, I'm gonna have to say no. Like for leveling up, this thing is pretty treacherous, and if I were you, I'd want to hop off this thing as quick as possible. It does have a little bit AoE with ground slam, but as soon as you get to a decently high level, the damage just becomes mediocre. So I wouldn't recommend it for that either. And last but not least, we have utility. And I'm gonna be honest, this fighting style has not much of that either. Has little mobility with quick tackle, and let's say you were trying to aim it up to avoid an attack, you can't even do that. It only forces you straight. So it's like literally a horizontal move only. Can't even use it for running or to get away. So all those things considered, man, this fighting style can only go one place, and that is Dookie tier, man. But we still gotta be grateful for combat, because without it, no other fighting styles would exist. But next up, we have the first obtainable fighting style in the game. You can get in first C, the dark step. Now, first off, in terms of coolness, I do think this fighting style is like 10 times better in combat. Instead of using your fists, you use your legs to attack, and when you activate hockey, it actually looks kind of sick. Now, for the first move, you have flying kick. You stand in place, and then you go wherever this little line projectile goes. The distance on that is not very far, but you know, it's a flying kick. Next up, we have breakdance, where you just, you know what I'm saying, kind of just turn into a Beyblade. And the last actual attacking move we have is barrage, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's a leg barrage. And then we have the final move, which makes this fighting style actually kind of decent, overheat. Sir. We actually get a transformation in this fighting style, which improves all of our moves. For example, flying kick now, boom, has an impact with fire damage. Breakdance, now that thing just looks 10 times better. And last but not least, barrage, the damage is also increased. So in terms of coolness, this thing is actually pretty cool, but is it good for grinding? For an early fighting style, it's actually not that bad for grinding. You could bunch NPCs up and use moves like barrage to deal some actually decent damage, as well as breakdance. And the overall damage is not that bad. Like, look at this, 1 click, 1500 M1 damage. And that's with max melee, by the way. But that said, grinding is where this fighting style is at its best, because for PvP, it is just mediocre. While the fighting style does have some good utility with moves like flying kick, being able to get away like that, it does help for running. In terms of PvP combo potential, it is just non-existent. Moves like breakdance have very little range. You would have to lock someone in place to ever land that in PvP, and the same is true for barrage. And it definitely doesn't help that this fighting style has no long range moves other than flying kick, which just comes out very slow and doesn't go very far. So for PvP, this is gonna get like a very low score. So for PvP, I just would not recommend using this fighting style whatsoever. All things considered though, even though it is a lot better than combat, it's still gonna have to go in bad tier. For this next fighting style, we have the electric fighting style next. This is the second obtainable fighting style in the game you can get, which will cost you about 500,000 bells. But is it worth that money? Now, I can just say off rip, in terms of PvP, this fighting style is no better than dark step. While we do have cool M1s that deal even more damage, 1901, the moves themselves are not that good. First up, we have stomp, which is a vertical only move. You're forced to go up and then go down. Next up, we have electrical tackle, which as you guys can see, it has literally no range. That is the maximum range this thing could go, which in terms of damage is also not that great. Last but not least though, we have the best move in the kit, electrical floor, which if you land can actually be good. As you guys can see, if you can catch somebody locking with that, it can be good for combo potential, but chances are you're never gonna land that. Now in terms of grinding, this is a bit better than dark step, I would say, simply because of this electric floor. You can gather up the NPCs, do that, and the damage is not bad. Electric tackle damage is also not that bad. The only one I would say is the worst is stomp, because it's literally a one-dimensional move. So for grinding, I would definitely put it on the same tier as dark step, maybe slightly even better. Now for utility purposes, this is gonna get way worse than dark step. No mobility whatsoever. Electric tackle has hardly any mobility, but at the very least you can aim it up to reach certain areas. Other than that though, for utility purposes, this style is only worth getting for one reason, and that is upgrading it to V2, similar to dark step. So yeah, some of y'all electric mains, if there's any of y'all out there might be mad at this, but this is also going in bad tier. But I will put it above Dark Step. Now, the last first sea fighting style is found in the underwater island, and it's actually kind of in a hidden area. So you have to go on the right side of this building, go behind this little tree, and you guys can go inside this building and talk to the water kung fu trainer. Similar to electric, this thing only has 3 different moves. The moves being steam charge fist, deadly shower, and heavy water punch. And I can say, just personally, in my opinion, this is the best first sea fighting style. Now, in terms of M1 damage, this has the most. You guys can see 2007. So it's a pretty big jump above both Dark Step and electric. But aside from the damage, I would also say this has the coolest effects out of all the first sea fighting styles, in my opinion. Going through the moves real quick, we have steam charge fist, the first move, which is a powerful punch, doesn't really have much effects. But for the second move, deadly shower, it introduces something that none of the other first sea fighting styles has, and that is a projectile based move. So when you use it, you guys can see you hold this right here, and when you let it go, it shoots a barrage of water bullets, which in my opinion looks pretty cool, and it has good range. Last but not least though, we have heavy water punch, which is essentially an upgraded version of the first move. But would you be surprised to know that this fighting style also has some pretty decent utility? You guys can see if you use heavy water punch, it actually has some decent mobility, which can help you for running and just overall grinding. Now, all that said, similar to all the other first sea fighting styles, this thing doesn't have much combo potential, but I would definitely say it's the best for PvP due to heavy water punch having long range and having a projectile based move with deadly shower. So while it's still going in the bad tier, it's definitely gonna go at the top, man. But that is all the first sea fighting styles out the way. Now it's time to move up to second sea, and let's see how good those ones are. The first obtainable fighting style in second sea you can get by talking to an NPC in this area right here. This boy named Sabi, and the fighting style is the Dragon Breath fighting style. Look at that stance. Now to obtain this, you only need 1500 fragments, so it's pretty cheap. And similar to every other fighting style in the game other than Dark Step, it has only 3 moves. Now in terms of visually, this fighting style actually has some cool effects, especially when you click. You guys can see it does like a little fire effect, kind of matching the dragon theme, you know what I'm saying? And that also fits with the moves. For example, Dragon Rush, boom, boom, 2 steps forward hits, and then it also has like little dragon fists with it. Next move, we have Dragon Flames. Last move we have is Dragon Explosion, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's just an explosion. Now in terms of grinding, this fighting style is actually pretty good. The damage is nice. Like, look at this. M1 damage, 2227 per hit. Decent boost above the water kung fu. And to be all fair, this thing is not too bad for PvP. It could definitely be utilized if you have a stun fruit like ice and hit them like this. You know what I'm saying? And hit them with all your stun abilities. You could definitely catch people lacking like that. But the issue with this fighting style is it doesn't really excel in anything. Like, it's decent for grinding, but there's definitely better options out there. And same with PvP. To even make it even useful in PvP, you have to run a specific type of fruit. Not to mention, every single move you use locks you in place. Like, this has crazy startup. Same with this move right here, also locks you in place, and this third move locks you in place. So if you're using this out in public, you're definitely about to get punished hard. Last but not least, utility. This thing doesn't really have much utility. While it does have decent mobility with Dragon Rush, you guys can see distance goes pretty far. The only thing I would say this fighting style is really great at is fighting sea beasts. The damage this fighting style puts out makes it not bad for fighting sea beasts in all honesty. But all things considered, even though Dragon Breath does have the highest damage we've seen so far, in my opinion, it is still not better than Water Kung Fu, so I'm gonna put it right below that. I feel like I just made a lot of Dragon Breath mains mad, but hey man, don't kill me, bro. Now for this next fighting style, we're gonna switch things up. For this next one, we're gonna go with one of the first upgraded ones of the video, and we're going with Sharkman Karate. This is the V2 version of Water Kung Fu, which you obtain in first sea, and you actually gotta go through a whole quest line to obtain that, so we ain't gonna go over that. But this one also only has 3 moves and is honestly really good. Now similar to Dragon Breath, when you hit somebody with the clicks, you have water M1s, which is pretty cool. And on top of that, the damage has actually gone up significantly, 2467 per M1. And if you had like 600 mastery, that would do over 2500. And for our moveset, the kit is honestly really good. First, we have 12 water palms. Basically, you lunge forward, do like 4000 damage, and hit them with a barrage. I also want to point out that this thing is really good for mobility. Like, if you use this in the air, you just can see you go really far. So it has double use, combo starter, and you can use this to get away. Next up, we have Pressure Vortex, which similar to Water Kung Fu is a long range ability. You guys can see there, does a decent amount of damage. Last but not least, we have Great Sea Spear, which you pull in your opponent and slam them back out. Now in terms of grinding, I must say this thing is very good. In fact, one of the better fighting styles for grinding in my opinion. In terms of how it looks visually, it's not the best looking one in the game. I mean, the effects are kind of like mediocre a bit, but it's not bad either. But where this fighting style really excels is for PvP and combos. First of all the moves combo each other easily. For example, you can just do X into Z into C, which then you can use like any sword like Spiky Trident to combo afterwards and then just start a whole thing. I could have did pull straight into Portal turtle dash into a whole other combo. And that was something I just thought of straight off the dome. I don't even use this fighting style for real. Now, there really isn't much this fighting style can't do. It's just that some of the other fighting styles does what this does, except better. The damage on this thing is not the best, although it does have pretty speedy moves, you guys can see there. One of its main lacking points is going against runners. If you're going against someone who's just moving around a lot and spamming, it's going to be hard to land that C move. So you got to kind of predict pretty well. And also this thing doesn't have a lot of versatility. Like, it's only really good with certain builds, whereas some of the other fighting styles are good with like tons of different builds. I personally think this is an underrated fighting style though. So for that, it's going to be the first one of the video. It's going in great tier, boys. With Sharkman Karate out the way, the next one we have is going to be at Witter Castle. And it's also another upgraded version of a previous fighting style. For this next one, we have the Death Step fighting style. Now this is pretty much upgraded upon Dark Step in every single way. Similar to the previous one, we also still do have leg M1s, you know what I'm saying? Although I do want to point out that the clicks for Death Step do less damage than Sharkman Karate, doing only 2,230. Also similar to its first C counterpart, this has 4 moves as well, the last one being a transformation. Let's go and check out this first one though. Rocket Kick. Boom. It's a long range projectile move, which does pretty decent damage. And I think this also hits multiple targets as well. Got a bunch of NPCs here. Let's use it. Rocket Kick. Boom. Yep, hits them all, but the damage is a bit mediocre. However, in turn, it has a very low cooldown, so it's spammable. Next move, though, we have Wind Bullet, which is another long range projectile. Boom. That one has a lot more damage than Rocket Kick, so that's more viable. Third move, we have Vermilion Kick. It's basically a barrage similar to the first fighting style. And last but not least, similar to the first one, we have Maximum Overheat. All the moves get increased damage and as well as have an added effect. For example, Rocket Kick has a pool of fire now. Wind Bullet also has a pool of fire. Vermilion Drill also has a pool of fire. So as you can imagine, for grinding, this thing is pretty good. Good AoE, good damage, good stun, and you have long range moves like this, which in turn also gives this fighting style good mobility. But that's where all the good things I have to say about Death Step end. In terms of PvP, this fighting style is very lacking. All 3 moves, Rocket Kick, Wind Bullet, and Vermilion Drill, can be Ken-tricked, which means in order to start a combo, you're gonna have to rely on your fruit. And if you're going against runners while using this fighting style, well, you're just gonna have a very tough time because the only real move you can hit them with is Wind Bullet. All those things together makes this a very low versatility fighting style, which means you're gonna have to rely on stun fruits like Shadow or Ice. Not to mention, compared to other fighting styles, the damage is pretty mediocre. Like, look at this Wind Bullet. That's only 2,873. Keep in mind, that can be Ken-tricked. So I may make a lot of people mad with this, bro, but Death Step is going in decent. Comment down if y'all disagree with that one. I feel like there's going to be a few ones that disagree, but that's just my opinion. Next up, we have the last fighting style that you can obtain in Second C, and you obtain it at the Snow Island. Now, to get this one, you actually have to go through this little secret patches right here, go down here and talk to this martial arts master. And the fighting style will be Superhuman, otherwise known as the skilled fighting style of the game. We got 3 different moves with this one. First one being Beast Owl Pounce, which is a really good move for combo starters. Basically, you lunge at them and do like a Dragon Ball Z barrage. Second one, Thunderclap. You stand still and do like an AoE shockwave, which knocks back enemies. Third move, Conqueror Gun, otherwise known as 6th Realm Gun. You stand still, boom, slam into him, which has high knockback. Now, in terms of grinding, I'm gonna be honest, this fighting style is pretty dookie. 2 of the moves are single target move, Beast Owl Pounce and Conqueror Gun. So the only AoE move you have is Thunderclap. Grinding is gonna be tough with this one. The damage on this thing is very good though. For example, Conqueror Gun deals 4,233 in Thunderclap. It does tons of damage as well. So while this thing may not be good for grinding at all, I must say for PvP is where this thing really excels. Now the combo potential with this fighting style is for real kind of limitless. With a fruit like Rumble and a sword like Shisui, you can easily string together combos with this thing such as this, you know what I'm saying? Beast Owl Pounce, boom, 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 Conqueror Gun, boom. Like something like that, that's 16,000 damage right there. So in terms of PvP, the potential is high. However, there's a reason why this is considered the skill-based fighting style of the game. Every move other than Thunderclap can be dodged with instinct. And in fact, Beast Owl Pounce, you can dodge with instinct while being in the middle of hitting with the move. Another thing is every move in this kit leaves you open to be punished. For example, Thunderclap, you sit still for a second and have end lag afterwards. Beast Owl Pounce, you're literally standing still right here, also have end lag afterwards, and they can Ken trick to avoid any follow-up combo. So every single move in this entire kit can either be Ken tricked or you could be punished heavily if you miss it. But other than that, it's a pretty good fighting style with good mobility and great combo potential, but it's definitely not great, so it's gotta go in decent, but I'm putting it above Death Step. I just know some people in the comments clenching their fists right now at that, bro. There's so many people that love Superhuman, but hey, man, it is what it is. Only 4 fighting styles remain in the game yet to rate, and that is Dragon Talon, Electric Claw, God Human, and Sanguine Art. And this is where we start getting into some heat fighting styles. So the next style, boys, we have the first one you could obtain in the 3rd C, or depending on what order you go into. We got the upgrade of Electric Claw. In terms of visuals, you get some cool little claws on your hands with this, so when you M1, it actually has some cool cool like electric effects. But more importantly, let's get to the moveset. First one, we have Electric Rampage, which is a electric barrage, and it has a lunge at the end. However, you can use that quickly. Instead of holding it down, you could just tap it and it'll do this. Let your barrage, boom, instantly just do the dash. Damage on that is a bit mediocre, but what you use that for is the stun, which can lead into combos. Next up, we have Lightning Thrust. As the name implies, it's basically a lightning thrust. But the best move in the kit by far is the last one, Thunderclap and Flash. Basically, you lunge out, boom, slam them boys up in the air straight up, and it stuns them a little bit. Now for grinding, this fighting style is actually pretty good. We have fast M1s, which makes it easy to grind. Good AoE moves like Thunderclap and Flash. Good mobility as well. But where this fighting style exceeds most is PvP. When it comes to PvP, this fighting style literally has like endless combos. Almost every fruit in the game, I guarantee you could find a combo with Electric Claw. And just to show y'all I'm not joking, let me show y'all an electric combo with Control. So you start off with the Thunderclap and Flash, look up, use Echo Knife, then you pull out Curse Dual Katana, Slayer Goliath, hold Curse Dual Katana Z, boom, and then hand it off with a Gamma Rush. And that is a whole one-shot combo right there, boys. In almost every category in this game, Electric Claw has got you covered. Grinding, it's got that down. PvP, Thunderclap and Flash alone, the fact that how fast this comes out and the fact that it breaks Ken makes this brain dead. There's really only one thing you have to worry about when it comes to Electric Claw, and that is air campers. Both Lightning Thrust and Electric Rampage is very difficult to land in the air, and the one downside is that Thunderclap and Flash cannot be used in the air. It forces you to return to ground. So that's Electric Claw's one weakness, to be honest. Other than that, though, if you don't run into air campers, you probably have a good chance of winning. So all those things considered, man, it's gonna be the first one of the video, bro. A godly fighting style. Electric Claw is 100% godly for PvP, man. Yes, Admin Usopp. The next fighting style we're going towards is the Dragon Talon. Now, this fighting style holds the title of most damage dealing in the game. This is also probably like the coolest visual effects in the game, and let me show you why. This first move is gonna explain it all. Talon Lighter, you lunge into him and basically just incinerate them boys. Like, that is a fire looking move. Next move, Ember Annihilation. You basically shoot out a big dragon, which you can aim as well. Let me show y'all boys. If you use Ember Annihilation to do a little 360, you guys can see it curves around. So that's kind of cool. It's like a little like dual use to it. And last but not least, we have Infernal Vortex, which is pretty similar to the first Dragon Breath. You kind of sit still and do an ult out. So as you can imagine, based off the effects, this is pretty good for grinding. I mean, like, look at this. Boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Infernal Vortex. Yeah, the damage is pretty saucy. Now, as cool as this fighting style looks, you'd think it'd be a godly one, right? Wrong. While this is a very good fighting style, it lacks in a few categories. Number one, mobility. The only mobility move this thing has is Talon Lighter, which you guys can see doesn't really push you that far. That's kind of like a medium ranged ability. Number two, dodge ability. Every single one of these moves, except for Infernal Vortex, which is the ultimate, can be Kentrick. Talon Lighter, you can literally activate your instinct in the middle of the move, negating the damage completely. And the same is true with Ember Annihilation. The only move that can't be Kenned is Infernal Vortex. But the issue is, with Infernal Vortex, you have to stand here for 2 seconds before the move even comes out, giving your opponents literally ample time to either dash away, use parallel escape, flash step away, do whatever they can to get away. And the third thing that makes this fighting style not a godly one, all of the moves leave you vulnerable. You use Talon Lighter and miss, that has End Light that can allow you to be punished. Ember Annihilation and miss, again, more End Light that can allow you to be punished. And of course, Infernal Vortex, the ultimate, which has the most damn end lag in the world, leaving you very vulnerable. Now, I wouldn't say any of these makes this fighting style bad. I think it just makes it a little more skilled. You have to definitely be calculated how you use it, because if you miss, you are 100% going to get punished. But the damage, how good it looks, and grinding capabilities alone makes this a 100% great tier fighting style, but I'm going to put it under Sharkman Karate because that one has better combo potential. And with that, boys, we are on the final 2 of the video, Godhuman and Sanguine Art. Let me spin this wheel to see which one we do first, man. I can't decide. And the one we got to do first is Sanguine Art. This is the newest added fighting style of the game that just got added a few months back, and you obtain it from this guy right here, Shappy. Now, I'm going to be honest, first thing off rip, before we even get to the moves with Sanguine Art, you have this saucy M1s. Like, look at this. You see that pose, first of all? Look at this. M1s just look vampiric. Like, that thing looks crazy. So M1s are very fast as well. And another benefit for grinding with this thing is that the M1s have range to it. So you can hit NPCs before they ever even get close to you. Not to mention that M1 damage is pretty good. Look at that. A few M1s, I already have 20,000 damage. Now, to demonstrate this first move, I'm actually going to get myself low. You guys can see my health is low right here, right? And this first move, Bloodbane Drain, is probably the best move in the kit. You lunge towards your enemy, suck their blood, and replenish your own energy and health with it. This is kind of crazy because not only does the move do really good damage, but you're also replenishing your health in the first place, which means in PvP and grinding, you'll be able to survive long. Next move, Scarlet Tear. A long range, basically just projectile based move, and stuns them a little bit, which means you can start combos. What more can I say about that? It's a very good move. Last one, Devour of Worlds. Boom. You slam them out, you stun them, and it has a second attack, which does damage over time. Also, in terms of visually, like, I know I said Dragon Talon I thought was the best, but after looking at this, I actually changed my mind. This is the best looking fighting style in the game. So obviously, it's really good for grinding. That is just no question about it. But how good is it for PvP? You know, I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna show you all this combo. Look at this, boys. Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom. Easy. Literally one shot, 25,000 damage, and that was like one of the easiest combos to pull off in the game. This fighting style really has it all. The only thing it doesn't is mobility, because this is a one mobility move, and that range is mediocre. Other than that, though, if you pair this thing with a good high mobility fruit like Portal, you're chilling. You're big chilling. It would honestly be dumb to put this thing in anywhere other than Godly, and that's actually gonna go even above Electric Claw. I don't think there's gonna be any arguments with that. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna argue with any of y'all about that. If you say it ain't Godly, you're just brain dead. And now we have the last fighting style in the game, boys. Y'all already know which one it is. The most popular one, Godhuman. Now we all know about this one. This is like not new or anything. It's been around for a while. Let's go ahead and show the move showcase though. First of all, M1's 2,564, one of the higher ones. But for the moves, we have Soaring Beast. You know what I'm saying? Does really good damage, 5,000 damage. Can be kenned afterwards though. Next up, we have Heaven and Earth, which is actually 2 moves in 1. If you just tap it, it'll be a long range projectile, which does a decent amount of damage. Comes out quick too. Paused. But if you hold it instead of tapping it, it'll be similar to the first one, Superhuman, which does a lot of damage, but it keeps you in place, so you're gonna have a lot of end lag. Last move, we have 6th Realm Gun, similar to the last one. You hold this, boom, does a lot of damage, has a lot of knockback, but it allows for a lot of combo potential. I'm gonna be honest, this fighting style is my favorite in the game for one reason, and it is mobility and combo potential. Also damage. Now, this fighting style is both my favorite and preferred fighting style to use for 3 reasons: damage, mobility, and combo potential. First of all, mobility. With this Soaring Beast plus 6th Realm Gun, no runners catching the way from you, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Like, you're gonna be on runners, especially if you pair together with a mobility fruit, you're gonna be on them always. And don't even get me started on combo potential. Godhuman has one of the easiest one-shots to do in the game. Let me show y'all real quick. Boom, boom, you know what I'm saying? Hit him with that. Godhuman C, boom, boom. GG's, easy. Literally one of the easiest one-shots to do in the game. It really pairs together with every fruit in the game. Like, there's not a single fruit that doesn't pair together with Godhuman, if I'm gonna be honest. The one downside I guess you could really say about Godhuman is it's not the best for grinding, just because a lot of these moves are single target moves. But the thing that carries this the most, and I run into this all the time in PvP, is 6th Realm Gun. The range on this is actually like stupid, bro. So in my opinion, bro, just the utility and combo potential and damage alone instantly makes this thing the most godly fighting style in the game, even above Sanguine art. So there's my full list of all the fighting styles in the game. Comment down if y'all disagree with any of the placements. I'm actually interested to see what y'all say. But if y'all enjoyed this video, make sure to click on this other tier list I did here.